My next guest is an author, entrepreneur, activist, speaker, and chiropractor. Dr. Kim, thanks for making time to be here today.
Yeah, thanks for having me.
No problem. I'm Zach Miller with my co-host Vance Sat.
Nice to meet you, Dr. Kim.
Yeah, nice to meet you too.
And we are touching base with Dr. Kim today. Let's get a little bit of background on you for the listeners. So you grew up here in Norfolk.
Yeah, I went to Norfolk Catholic from K through 12. Then I went to Creighton University and then Palmer College of Chiropractic in Iowa.
That's great. That's great. How was that experience in Norfolk for you with going to Catholic and kind of growing up around the Norfolk area and coming back?
Yeah, well, I think everybody hates their hometown for a minute. You know,
I would agree with you.
You know, you want to get out and branch out, but now raising kids here, it's really awesome.
Right.
You know, yeah. But I think Norfolk Catholic did prepare me for college, and you know, it was a safe environment to live in Norfolk, so I think it was good.
That's good.
Yeah.
And then Creighton, you said Creighton, right?
Yeah, in Omaha.
That's great. How did you come to that decision?
Well, I was a big nerd, so they gave me half off as a 50% off scholarship. So you don't say no to half off of Creighton. So that's what I did. And it was very medically focused, which I think was great for me because I was not medically focused. And so I was kind of the odd duck, which prepared me to continue to be the odd duck, you know. And then I did graduate from there. Sometimes you don't have to fully get the degree to go to chiropractic school. Okay. But I learned I was in chiropractic school before my last year at Creighton. So the last year was pretty fun.
Good.
So when you went to Creighton, what did you go to Creighton for?
Yeah, I majored in biology. I wanted to learn about the human body.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Did you already, now I know we're going to kind of get into the body and things like that as we talk through here. Was that already kind of a passion for you before going to college, or was it kind of a...
Yeah, it was almost like second nature. So my dad's a chiropractor. I grew up getting adjusted. I grew up, you know, so I think it was just like ingrained that that's what I should do. And then I had a moment of rebellion of I don't want to do it just because my dad's doing it.
Right.
So I think it was the third year at Creighton. I did a marketing class and I made a fake commercial. Oh, you have a headache. You could just take this pill that's not natural or just get adjusted. And it's like a light bulb went off in my head. And I was like, oh, I want to do that and help a lot of people. That'd be really cool.
So is that kind of what sparked, like even just, you know, getting away from any kind of medication and things like that too? Is that kind of the light bulb?
Well, like growing up, we never took medication. We
Right.
never really went to the doctor unless we needed a piece of paper to go to school. You know, we weren't scared of fevers. We weren't scared of disease. So that's just how I lived my life. That was already there.
Yeah, that's
Yeah.
good. That's good. And that came from both parents, or that mostly? Because I know your
both
mom's
parents.
a huge proponent of that too, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
She's a great woman, by the way.
Yeah. I'm a fan.
So I know you were, when it came to COVID, I know we don't always like talking about COVID, but now it's coming back into the news. Fauci's on the news with going through Congress right now. But so I know you were against most of the mandates of the vaccines and the masks and all that. Can you kind of explain why that's the case?
Yeah. I'm not a fan of any sort of mandate. This is the land of the stinking free. Can we swear on this podcast?
You can.
Oh, yeah, you
This
can
is
say
the
whatever
land
you want,
of the
trust
free
me.
and the home of the brave, and freedoms are being taken away every day. And that's not cool because this should be the land of the free. And they call it the home of the brave. But where the heck are all the brave people standing up? Because I felt alone in my ways a little bit. So
Yeah.
for myself and my
I
children,
promise you weren't alone.
thank you. Thank you.
You definitely weren't alone. I just didn't have kids to have to worry about, but I was pretty.
I should have
I was
stood
pretty
up
much
a
an
little more
asshole
because I
about
felt the
a
way
lot
you
of
did.
stuff. I didn't really give a shit. Like I didn't. I had one job I was working at. And they wanted me to do all. I don't give a shit. Or like I was sick one day. Like, well, you need to go get tested. Not going to happen. I'll just be in tomorrow. Like,
Yeah,
I don't really
everything
give
was a
shit.
choice. No one was
Right.
forced. You either
Yeah.
didn't travel or you had to put your job on the line, but nobody was forced. So for my kids and for myself, my family, we choose natural health. We say no thank you to things that aren't natural. For vaccines specifically, I wasn't vaccinated growing up. I had to sign a piece of paper to go to school because of so that's just like what I know, you know? And then people are like, well, what research can we do to help people know that maybe they should choose what you're choosing? And it's really just informed consent is the thing I have an issue with. So if you go to the lovely CDC website and you look at the list of ingredients, there's a whole bunch.
Oh, yeah.
And if you look at the side effects, there's a whole bunch if they're able to give them to you, right? And if you just take the ingredients, okay, I'm a nerd. I studied biology and genetics at Creighton University. Our body has a genetic code, DNA, right?
Right.
When you introduce a vaccine that has a virus that already has a genetic code attached to it, whether it comes from a dog, a bird, a monkey, or aborted babies. So they take the genetic code of these aborted babies and they put it in the vaccines and they put it in your child, but they're not going to tell you that.
Right.
So is that really informed consent? Probably not.
No.
In Nebraska, we have a religious exemption and a medical exemption. I would love to just be able to say no thank you. They used to
Right.
call that a philosophical exemption, but our rights are being taken away, which
Right.
is great. So a religious exemption, for me, the body is a temple, period. That's all you need to know. I don't care if you're religious. I don't care. We were made as animal humans, solar powered, to function as God intended with the way we were made, with no interference, right? So I feel like we should be able to say no thank you, and we're not. But we do have a religious exemption. So if the body as a temple isn't enough for you, you can break it down to the ingredients, and perhaps religious exemption could then be correlated with the fact that there's aborted fetal tissue in there. You know, and if you look at the ingredients, it'll say things like WI38 and MRC5 and PERC6, and these are all the genetic lines of this aborted fetal tissue that they use. So it's in plain sight, you know, and I speak on stages all around the country at chiropractic events and whatnot. And I say, if a mother or a father was given a postcard that said, hey, this contains chopped up aborted babies, you'll want to put it in your kid, do you think they'd choose the same thing? And it's just a question. And the other question is that really informed consent, right? The other note, we were made to breathe oxygen. Deep breath, full lungs, bottom of the lungs, exhale the uckies is what I tell my kids.
Right.
If you're trapping uckies in a giant fence called a mask, you're not going to get it out, and then you're going to breathe those uckies. And back in the day when there was a Spanish flu, most people died from breathing in their own uckies. It's like, what the heck is going on, right?
Yep.
So when the mandate came, I wore a beard hairnet with my red lipstick, and I walked into Target, and the sign said, you have to have your face covered. Yes, it is.
Yep.
Call the cops, please.
Right.
They didn't. When there was a $25 fine for not wearing a mask, I really wanted
Where
that.
was there a fine at?
In Norfolk, that was said that there was
Really?
going to be a
Oh,
$25
I literally
fine.
walked anywhere I wanted to go without a mask.
Yeah, I really wanted to get in trouble for
was
that.
Faith Regional became a dickbag about it a couple times, and I was like, whatever. I have to do this for work, you know, to get into the.
You didn't have to. You kept your job.
Yeah.
Uh-huh. No one had to, sir. You chose to. However, I feel like if they would have gotten me in trouble for that $25 fine, and I could have went to the courthouse and saw patients everywhere, because there's patients everywhere, I could have argued the Constitution of the United States, and I didn't get that chance, but I really wanted to.
I don't think there was actually a fine. I think somebody just said that.
Yeah.
In other
I've
places
never
there
heard-
were.
Oh yeah.
You know, and the cops came to my office during that time, and they brought their
Really?
kids to get adjusted.
Oh yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
No,
So,
it was all stupid.
Yeah.
It was all stupid.
But beyond the masks and the vaccine, they lied about everything. Like, I mean, you could literally, as somebody that has zero medical knowledge, zero medical training, I know numbers, and the numbers weren't adding up. Like you guys you're talking about deaths, but you're not saying who died. You're not saying ages. You're not saying any of this. And then then the numbers change all the time. And then we're doing this and doing that. And it's like, you guys are full of shit. Nobody's dying that isn't already unhealthy. Like, this is just bullshit.
If
So
you're
that's where I
easily
was at on
swayed,
it.
you're
Yeah.
easily swayed.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And
And
then
then-
you know, heart attacks, and they were calling it COVID. You know, it just was.
And they
lucky,
got-
as you say.
What they did is they got people to say, you got to protect everybody else. No, I don't. You have to protect yourself. I choose to protect myself the way I want to protect myself. It's your duty. If you want to wear a mask, you're more than welcome to do whatever the fuck you want to do. I'm not, can't force me to do something. That's where I was at on the entire thing.
Yeah.
Yep. It's about the host. If you have a healthy host, it
Right.
doesn't matter what's in the air.
Right. Exactly. And then it comes to now there's more side effects coming out. People are
Because
passing
they're
away.
so natural.
Right. Exactly. It's just, I think we're going to be hearing more and more and more and more. And everything that you said is going to come more and more true.
It used to make me want to vomit or cry or get mad, and now it's just ridiculous.
Right. Yeah. It's pretty much just ridiculous. That's a good word for it.
Yeah.
I just want people to always remember what they did.
Always remember what happened.
Just don't fall for it again.
All for it.
Or the worst thing, what I'm afraid of is there's going to be something that is going to be killing everybody, and none of us. I won't care. It's not going to stop me. But then, that's what they just did, is they just caused a really big problem on that side of it. If that does come across.
If I were the hypothetical puppet master and I had the opportunity to do it again, would you do it less intense?
No, they're going to
No, I
do it
don't
more
think they
intense.
would.
Right. More intense.
Right.
Yeah. Yeah. It's going to be hypothetically. Always hypothetically. So we'll get past COVID. I want to just talk about it real fast.
Thanks.
But
My blood pressure goes up.
you're good. Yeah. I could tell. So you speak at a lot of different events throughout the year. What made you decide to kind of start doing that?
I was asked, Kim, I love your Facebook. I like what you stand for. Do you want to do it on a stage? Sure. And I was nervous, but years later, now that I do it, it's like second nature. And I feel like I can't help but shout it from the mountaintops. I grew up not vaccinated. I'm not scared of disease. It's okay. And I want to spread the word to make bravery contagious, because it's not.
Right. Exactly. And then is there different types of speaking events, or is it mostly regarding chiropractic?
It's mostly chiropractic.
Chiropractics.
But you know, the story of growing up as the daughter of a chiropractor ties in very well. So I just pretty much say whatever I.
Yeah, that's fine. And you kind of talked about this already, but when did you know that you wanted to? You already said when you wanted to be a chiropractor, but when did you want to start your own practice? Like, what made you want to do that?
Oh, I've been doing that for 8 years now. So fresh out of school, I went in with a group practice with my dad and my brother and another doctor. And eventually I just decided that I'd like to do my own thing.
Mm-hmm.
So I stopped taking insurance and I went downtown, and it's great because I don't feel like I'm muzzled or caged, and I can do it exactly how I would want to do it. And when the mandates came, I was called an essential worker. So I got to wear the crown, and I read Pete Ricketts' statement. It said, the chiropractor has to deem it necessary. Well, every single bone that I move, every single adjustment I give is necessary for the optimal potential of human well-being. So every single patient kept coming in. But if they would have told me to maybe close, I'm not sure I would have abided. So it was very nice to be on my own, to know that I could just do that. And I would have my assistant sign something that would say, "You're voluntarily coming to work. I'm not making you." They all looked at me like I was crazy. I'm like, just sign the paper then, honey.
You gotta watch your own back, though.
But yeah, it was nice to not hesitate.
Right.
Yeah.
When you're doing your own thing, you can do it, to an extent, you can do whatever you want.
To an extent, yeah.
So, I mean, I like that you wanted to go do that, because that's kind of how you approach most things, I think. From what I've known of you.
Agreed.
What are some of the hurdles or struggles that you face trying to open your own practice?
I mean, I was hesitant in the beginning to not take insurance, but my adjustment's pretty good. If you've ever had it, it's different than everybody else. And I feel like it's exceptional, and I get the results I want. Back in the day when I did take insurance, I never sat down. So it was a very nice change, but that was a hesitation, and it sucked to have to tell people that, no, I don't take insurance anymore, so that was probably the biggest hurdle. It was very beneficial that I was in a group practice first. I think it took away a lot of hurdles of like the learning curve of sorts of like x-rays, MRIs, knowing confidently what I'm doing, that type of thing.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
That's good. As far as taking the insurance, a lot of that was probably, one, you wanted to charge what you wanted to charge, right? And the second was you didn't want to deal with the insurance companies anymore, right? I'm gonna
they can
assume.
suck my toe.
Yeah, exactly.
Mm-hmm.
The insurance doesn't really pay for a lot of it anyways, do they?
It depends on the insurance, but when you are in network with insurance, you play their games and then you jump through hoops, and I don't do well with that.
Yeah, because then you have to become like what do they call them? Like a provider, like a
participating.
Yeah, participating provider, and then you have to go by their rules.
Yeah, I don't participate in those rules. No.
Yeah, no.
And they can have a great day about that.
Exactly.
Mm-hmm.
I think you're going to see a lot more things going that route.
Yeah, it just didn't resonate with my
philosophy
either.
Things like that. Yeah,
you would hope so.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You work a lot in pediatric, the pediatric chiropractor space, and bring awareness to it. Why is that so important to you?
Because the best way to get a healthy adult is to start with a healthy child. And the best way to get a healthy child is to take them to the chiropractor on the way home from the hospital, or invite the chiropractor into your home if that's where you have a baby. So the brain and the body communicate through the nerves like computer wires. And if something is not working correctly because they need a chiropractic adjustment, you're not communicating at 100%. So when the brain and the body don't communicate fully, it doesn't function fully, it doesn't heal fully. Like I get these babies in and the mom's like, they scream every night. For a worse example, right? The next time the mom's got makeup on, she's sitting up straight. I'm like, how'd we do? She's like, oh, it's a whole different kid. I hear it all the time. It's great. Before the kid can even say, ouch, I'm allowing their body to be at their best potential. And you don't say words after that most of the time, like ear infection. You don't say it. Colic. You don't have to say it. Sickness. You don't really have to say it because the body is able to be the best host possible.
That's good. I like that approach to it. I think starting early on some of that is definitely a good idea.
Like, how do you know your baby couldn't be happier or calmer? You don't know unless you've taken them to a specific chiropractor.
Right.
Yeah.
In some places, just want to give them medication, and put them to sleep and whatever.
The problem's still there.
Yep, exactly. That's you're just masking it, as we like to say.
Oh, look at that word you used.
Yeah, masking. Yeah, bringing it full circle. Give us your take on why seeing a chiropractor at any age, though, is very important. From old to young to middle.
Yeah, I mean, if the brain isn't communicating with the body, you're not your healthiest self, period. So step one. Step two, wear and tear is real. A lot of people work physically. A lot of people work at a desk. Posture sucks. Gravity is real. So the wear and tear on the joints needs to be aligning correctly. Otherwise, potentially in the future, you're prone to more things like arthritis or pain where there shouldn't be.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Is it kind of the same when you start at the younger age that you have to deal with the older age too? Is it kind of like the same concept where you have to be more careful as far as the bones and things like that?
Oh yeah, they get a little more brittle with time.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, but when you know what you're doing.
Right. Well, exactly. Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
Like at the beginning, it was like, oh no, there's an 88-year-old at my table. But now it's like, okay, I'll just be nicer.
Right.
When you talk about every bone you move, do you do more than just like your back adjustments, or you're talking like if you do a back adjustment, that'll change your joints and everything?
Yeah. So the whole body's connected, and I'm a nerd. So I start at the pelvis. I'll even check knees and ankles, and then I go all the way up your spine and to your head, and then I go to your arms and your wrists. But every nerve in between every segment of your bones goes to something.
Yeah.
Organs, limbs, stuff like that. So yeah, you never know how great it can be if you have never been.
Yes, you're doing whole body. I mean, you go from the
I check
all the
it.
way. Yeah.
I hopefully don't have to adjust everything every time, or I'm not doing my job very well.
Right. Yeah.
Right.
Is there a certain spot of the body that everything stems from? Is it more like the back area, or is it kind of you could have like a leg problem and that could stem other problems, or how?
Well, every patient's different,
Right.
but the brain controls the whole body. So the brainstem goes down to C2.5. So adjusting the occiput, which is the skull, and the number 1 and the number 2 can directly affect the brainstem.
Oh.
Sleep, immune system, metabolism, homeostasis, proper function, all that.
Yeah.
Big deal.
Yeah, definitely a big deal.
Yeah.
How has social media played a role in helping spread awareness for you? I know even with your business, which platform has helped you the most to reach
Yeah,
the
I'm a
masses?
nerd about that. Like I've never given social media a penny. I do it all myself. My business page is almost 4,000 likes. It's going pretty good.
Yeah.
But it allows me to be louder and reach more people. And I just stick with the base of it. Chiropractic is great. Here's why. Sometimes I talk about myself. Sometimes I talk about specific cases, but I just really love to spread the word. I jumped on it a while ago. So Facebook's the best for me. I have a lot of haters.
Yeah.
So on Instagram,
when you're doing well, you're going to have haters.
yeah.
So.
They can also suck my toe at this point. But on Instagram, I keep it private because I also put my kids out there sometimes. So I think Instagram would do better for me with numbers if it was public, but I keep it private, does well enough.
Do you find that you run into hurdles with shadow banning and algorithmic stuff?
I choose my words very carefully. Yeah. So no. You have to know what not to say.
Yeah.
Right.
I can put an emoji of a vaccine and an emoji of a mask, or write natural health instead of spelling it out. And I can't say don't vaccinate your kids because I'm not a medical doctor, so I would never tell anybody to do that. But I can surely say for my kids and myself, we would never do that.
Right. Exactly. Growing Up Fearless came out. Now I wrote this last year, right? Still.
January last year.
Okay, so we're still there.
Yeah.
Did your writing career start with articles being published and then kind of branched out into the books, or what was kind of your motivation to start writing?
I used to write back in the day for newspaper articles that I'd publish myself and blogs that I would publish online for myself. And then when in California, I used to do my internship, and my husband's from there. So in California, they took away religious exemptions, and then they took away medical exemptions. And so when my kid was born in 2011, that was happening over there, and I just got mad about it. So I wrote my first book then. And then I wrote articles for chiropractic things after the word spread that I know what I'm doing, I guess you could say. And then Growing Up Fearless was my second book that I wrote.
Oh, that was your second book.
Yeah.
Okay. That's awesome. And how well is that one doing for you? Are they both doing well?
It's great. I got the foreword to be written by other second generation unvaccinated chiropractors so that people can know that that's a real thing.
Right.
Ben Tapper was one of them, which was pretty cool. And it's just the story of how I was able to send my kid to public school without a mask on. And it was a fairly easy thing. And we were seemingly the only ones when we showed up there at the school that was doing that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think that was the case. And you guys you approached it very well. Like I said before, I wish I would have done things a little differently, how I handle it with the kids and stuff. And I should have probably taken a little more of a step like you did.
Day one.
Yeah. Should have for sure. It's one of my biggest regrets in the last 4 years is that we didn't hit it a little harder. So you had some more support.
Yeah. Well, now you know for next time.
Yeah, I know.
Yeah. It's okay. I don't mind being the only one. I stand in it just fine.
I know. So balance is kind of a key word on this podcast. Tell us how you kept the balance in your life with being a mother, wife, speaker, author, entrepreneur, activist. You're a busy person.
Yeah, I don't think balance exists. I like to think that I wear many hats, but only one hat at a time.
Yeah.
Right now, I'm a podcast interviewee, right? Sometimes I'm only a chiropractor and I'm a doctor and I have to make sure it's not broken or someone has a weird exam that I shouldn't be doing what I'm doing. That's a doctor hat. Sometimes I'm a mom. Sometimes I'm a CEO. I have other businesses. Sometimes I'm a coach. Sometimes I'm an author, all the things. But there's an analogy that I loved that if you're in a hallway with a bunch of doors and every door is a different one. So like when I pull into my garage at home, I put on the mom hat. I leave the chiropractor doctor hat at home, But if you delegate every moment of your time for a specific thing, which seemingly is what I've done, and the free time, I'm a mother, then I don't have to feel the overwhelm or feel the lack of balance as long as I'm taking care of myself.
That's good. I like the way you approach that. It's tough to do with so many things going on. You feel like you're just getting overwhelmed, and I like that you taking off a hat. Take out the hat, put on the new hat. Just forget about the other piece of it for a while.
And don't get me wrong, I'm an entrepreneur, so sometimes at 10 p.m. there's like a ding,
you got to put
bubble, and I email myself, and that way I don't forget about it. But I try to only take the action when it's allotted for that.
Right.
Yeah.
Did you feel starting your businesses and doing all the writing and things? Did you ever have any struggles being a woman to get through some of that? Do you feel like it was tougher?
No,
I didn't think so. I didn't think you'd answer that way, but yeah.
I grew up with college football playing brothers.
Yep.
And I could hang with them and their friends. Yeah. Not really. I learned that I thrive with an audience of hundreds, and I thrive when there's men and women.
Right.
I don't know. I've been told I have some big balls, so it's kind of fun to just stand up there and get inspired by the others around me. It's almost like you don't think I can, watch me do it kind of a thing.
Right.
Yeah.
That's a good answer. I like that. We kind of got through some of the stuff that we really quickly. Vance, do you have any other stuff about the chiropractic or anything else we talked about?
Not really. No, it's a lot of information in a short amount of time.
Mm-hmm.
Not really.
We did talk a little bit about vitamins and so we're not talking about medication, but do you guys as a family, is there certain vitamins that you guys take for you guys personally?
I love Juice Plus. It's ground up fruits and vegetables. It's lovely. I take that with the magnesium and a ground up cow liver from New Zealand.
Cow liver, huh? Mm-hmm. I like that.
A little bit of iron, especially for women,
Right.
Yeah. Another conversation, but yeah.
Do you drink milk?
I do. Only whole milk, less processed.
Okay.
Yep.
Just want to make sure.
I'm a big fan of that new one at the store, Burbox. It's from Hardington.
Burbox, really good.
Yes.
That's really good. For people that maybe don't drink cow milk and they drink oat milk or anything else, do you think, or don't drink milk at all, is there a way to maybe build that calcium, especially in women too? I
mean, hopefully they're eating cheese.
Cheese, yeah.
Yeah, I would say the source of the calcium, however you can get it, just get calcium.
So I do D3, K2, B12, just a multivitamin. I do magnesium now. I'm taking some kind of there's like a brain boost, like a bunch of different stuff supposed to help you kind of focus a little bit.
Maybe you should go to a chiropractor.
Oh, I'm thinking about that too. I've been, the rest of the family's gone. I haven't gone yet.
Dude, you should. Yeah.
I should. I'd probably feel a little better. But I think in our family, we're a big proponent of I don't take ibuprofen. I try to do everything through natural sources. Mm-hmm. I think that's a huge thing that you do as well. And I think that's awesome. Yeah.
Nutrition's huge too. Mm-hmm. Like pay attention to how you feel after you eat it.
Right.
If you feel like crap, I love Chinese food. It don't like me.
Right.
Like afterwards, you just feel tired and heavy, and then you're hungry again soon. You know what I mean? So if you eat inflammatory foods, you're going to be more swollen than if you eat anti-inflammatory foods. So just pay attention to it. It really matters. And if you're in a pinch, go get some nuts and some all natural stuff instead of a drive-through.
Right.
Yeah.
That ginger, garlic, things like that, anti-inflammatory.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. We do a lot of soups and things with that. It's great. Where do you get most of your foods? Like, you're a busy person. Do you cook a lot, or do you?
If I have the time.
Yeah.
Yeah. I love Omaha steaks, bringing it frozen to my door, all of the meat there. I'll go to Hy-Vee sometimes. I really like the catering companies in town because they'll bring me stuff that was made on their farm that I can just shove in my oven and say I cooked it.
Right. Exactly. Yeah. Those are good. That's why I wondered if you did any of those services, but keeping it local is kind of cool.
Oh yeah. And it's good.
Yeah, it is good. Yeah. I didn't know if like HelloFresh or one of those places, but I've never tried it. But
directions make me have to focus and read.
When you can just pop it in the oven.
Yeah.
That's good.
I don't want to learn anything new these days.
Right. I hear you. Other than that, I think we'll kind of get into the federal questions, the election questions here real fast. With an election year coming up, how do you feel about where the state of our country is right now? And do you feel that we are being well represented at the federal and state levels?
At the state level, perhaps, yes. The federal level, no.
Yeah. Any reasons why? Don't want to get into that.
Well, I do feel like freedom doesn't exist.
Yeah.
And I do feel like there are some candidates that aren't president right now that believe more in freedom. And I do believe that body autonomy and being able to say no thank you to things is a big thing.
Yeah. I would agree with you. Do you feel that...
Speaking of that, we did see a picture posted You got to meet somebody, didn't you?
Oh yeah,
Yeah.
we did see that. I kind of forgot about that.
Yeah.
You know,
I'm a fan of parts of him. Very.
if I could
limited
vote on
parts.
one issue, which is really how I tend to vote, it would be for him. And I've met too many people in politics, I guess you could say, you know, and I don't want to dog on anybody, but Donald Trump was president. He was president and went on television and said, you should do these things.
Mm.
He brought in people to that committee to sway his words for that interview. And one of the people he brought in was Bobby Kennedy. And I do feel like perhaps I would have loved if Trump would have maybe said, maybe you should choose for yourself. So for that reason alone, I don't know what to feel.
Yeah.
But I'm not a fan of abortion.
No.
Even more so because there's aborted babies in genetic codes, and you know they're in vaccines from the genetic codes, and you know they're doing research on them all the time.
Right.
So I can't say that I'm fully for everything one candidate stands for, but I love Bobby Kennedy's stance on natural health.
Yeah.
I don't know if you watched Joe Rogan, but I watched every word of that Joe Rogan
That was a
Bobby
good
Kennedy
podcast,
podcast. It just makes me feel not alone in my thoughts.
Yeah.
I think he's on a single issue. He's right. Everything else, he's way off.
Yeah,
way
it's
off
hard
based
to.
on the
It's
rest.
hard.
And so,
to know
like
what
the
to
way I
do.
look at it, and I see where you're coming from because that's your life. You know, doing that all natural and that type of stuff. And I think you're right there. I look at a bigger picture as like, can we compromise here just to get everything else that we're not going to go into on the other side? We're not going to allow 9 months. We're not going to allow, you know, that type of stuff. And that's where I'm at on that. But I think he's a cool guy. I think he's got balls of steel to be doing what he's doing.
Yeah.
Going
He
without
needs some good
secret
security.
without secret
And they're
service
not
protection.
allowing him to have it,
He can
and I
have
think
his
that's
own.
asinine.
He
Yeah.
can have his own. He can
Right.
raise some money.
Right.
Yeah.
It'd be all right.
Yeah. It is hard to, like, you can never completely agree with any candidate, right?
I know.
So
Yeah.
you got to pick a. And you've obviously picked your topic and roll with it, and then we got to pick ours. And I do like what you said about Trump, because that is one thing that I did not like about when
A
stuff
lot of
went
people
through.
don't
I was
like it.
not.
Yeah, but
I'm
I'd
not a
rather.
fan.
A lot of people, this is where I don't like how he did I don't think he should have caved on the 15 days.
Caved. That's the word. Yes, sir.
He absolutely caved
Yeah.
to the Burks and the Faucis and
The
those
powers
type
that
of
be.
people.
Mhm.
He did cave on that side of it.
Mhm.
I believe that the Operation Warp Speed is a good thing. I truly believe that. If you're keeping it to informed consent, you know, right to try whatever you like. If you're going to make something that maybe is going to change my life and I choose, I'm going to try it. I don't really care. It's my choice. I have no problems with that. I don't think then taking it from warp speed where we're going to push it through really fast and then given immunity and then given a mandate. That's where this whole warp speed gets screwed up.
In the land of the free.
Whereas like warp speed is awesome because we're taking away red tape. And I think less red tape is good for every industry, not just vaccines and
Mhm.
all the other bullshit, whatever we're going to talk about.
As long as they're informing you, that's the
Yeah.
biggest piece of it. Yeah,
Mhm.
cut the red tape,
Or
but then
just
don't
take your
tell you what's
chance
in
at
it,
it.
and
Or-
then just say, "Hey, take it."
Yeah,
But
don't
it-
say, hey, take it. Say, hey, this
Yeah.
is what could happen. This is what
Yeah.
could happen. We don't really know.
Yeah.
It's your choice.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I'm going to take whatever choice I believe is good for me.
Yeah.
My choice was if you have COVID, cough in my mouth and let me get it over with. Like that's
Let's
where
go play in
I'm
the
at.
sand together.
Yeah,
Yeah.
exactly.
That's like at my age at that time, I'm a little bit overweight, so you know I'm not in perfect shape, but I was never afraid of COVID.
Right.
I was really sick for 3 days or 3 weeks. You know, shitty, like terrible, miserable. Fuck it, I don't care. Let's get it over
fear
with.
increases your stress hormones, which
Yeah.
makes you less likely to kick anything.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, I wasn't afraid of it. I
That's
just
good.
knew I was sick. I was
Yeah.
like,
Yeah.
it's whatever. I don't give a shit. I'll get over this.
A lot
Yeah.
of people were scared.
Yeah.
Yeah, they were.
Well, they did that on purpose.
Of course they did.
Yeah. Do you feel that the two-party system still works in today's time?
Makes me want to vomit.
Yeah.
We
Any-
are of the same bird.
Yeah.
Uh-huh.
Do you feel that there's any way to move away from that and do something different?
It's hard to know who has the puppet strings attached.
Yeah. We kind of call it the uniparty. They're all
Mhm.
just scratching each other's back, and
Yeah.
there's really no two parties. It's just one.
Yeah. At the state level, though, it makes me happy to physically know people.
Right.
There are chiropractors that are senators. Even Rob Dober from this town, I'm a big fan of. You know, you have to be brave. You have to be set in your ways to know what you stand for. And the only way to make a change is to be there and do it. And they are, which is great.
Do you think some of the federal side is kind of creeping down to the state level? Do you see that kind of changing at all, or do you still feel we have a pretty good solid representation at the state level.
Well, it was very interesting to me when the mandates all came, how every state was different. Like my girlfriends in Denver couldn't practice because they weren't essential, and it was one state away, and every state was different. Even with the exemptions to vaccines, every state is different. So I do love that Nebraska stands up for that kind of a thing, mostly anyway. So of course it's going to trickle down. It's federal and state, but as long as the states are able to have their own voice, I think we might be all right.
Yeah.
Which in a federalist system, that's how it's supposed to be. Yeah. So I was happy that some states were going batshit crazy, and I thought we were batshit crazy. I didn't think we went safe enough. I think we went way too far, in my opinion. Yeah. I mean, I loved it because I was out and about, and I could travel wherever I wanted to go at whatever speed I wanted to go, and it was fun. Like it was. I enjoyed it, but I didn't enjoy the long-term effects. I just was like, if you guys are going to be that stupid and you're going to stay at home, I'm not going to I got free reign now.
And you say that's the way it's supposed to be, but
federalism should be that way. Absolutely every state shouldn't be the same.
There's also a constitution. So the things that happen shouldn't happen.
The constitution is federalist though.
Yeah.
Like the states are allowed to do what they want to do.
Yeah. Right. But the whole mandate,
the government shouldn't make it happen. The federal government.
What happened during the few years of COVID shouldn't have happened if you abide by the Constitution fully.
Right.
Correct. The state could have done it themselves.
Right.
Because they have their own constitution under that other. It couldn't come from the top.
Right.
Right.
Yes.
Where do you see yourself going in the future? Are you enjoying where you are? Do you see yourself staying in Northeast Nebraska?
I mean, sure, but I'm going to vacation more.
Yeah.
Yeah. I just hired a chiropractor. She graduated Friday. She went to Palmer, the school that I went to. She's going to do acupuncture too. So now when I go speak at things, and I never work a Friday, I work a Saturday morning instead. So she'll be able to be there when I'm not, which takes the guilt away from me from like going and taking a family vacation, like the 4th of July, for example.
It's tough to do.
Yeah. So I feel like it'll just keep thriving. And I love downtown Norfolk. It's on the up and up for sure. So yeah, I do have patients in Omaha that drive to me, and I have girlfriends that have an office in Bennington. So sometimes I like pop through if I'm going to Omaha to take care of some people there. So, I mean, the potential for a satellite is an option, but I think I'll always have an office in Norfolk for sure.
That's good.
And I love speaking at things all around the world. So I just see that growing and growing and growing. And, 20-year plan, have my own seminars that I can put wherever I want.
Right. Exactly.
Yeah.
And you said acupuncture. You also don't you have a few masseuses in there too?
Yeah, I have 3 massage therapists, 2 ladies and a guy. One of the ladies is light tissue. One of the ladies does cupping, and she can do deep tissue. And then the guy is super deep tissue. So it's good for everybody. They're pretty full. I could use another one, actually. I sent flyers to the massage school in Wayne because that's the closest one, but they don't graduate till August. So I'm not really holding my breath with that. Yeah. But the goal is to just keep expanding and to have more rooms than what we have.
That's great. Yeah. It's kind of like you got full service going on in there.
Yeah,
you
can come really cool.
Get your chiropractic done. And I've never done acupuncture. Don't know if I could. I'm not a big fan of needles. Well, if you don't think you can,
you can't.
Not that many needles anyway.
It's a cool office. I mean, so that office is my grandpa's old office.
Oh, how fun is that?
So Dr. Gillespie is that's my grandpa.
He lived by my grandparents.
Yeah, right across
Crown
the
road.
Yeah.
Wow. That's
Small
cool.
world, right?
Yeah.
So yeah, it's hard. I've driven by. I was like, that doesn't look anything like it looked my entire childhood. I mean, he didn't take a bunch of good. He didn't, and his dad. Well, obviously, once his dad left, it was pretty much. I mean, I remember it as a child when it was still up and running, and then the last 10 to 15 years of it, him owning it kind of just was there. We'd go do minimum maintenance once a year, basically, is what he'd take me and my brothers, since we were the only ones around here. But yeah, so
that's cool. Yeah, my landlord did it up pretty nice. So yeah, it looks like an art gallery in there, but it's kid friendly, which is
it looks kind of cool.
Yeah.
From the I've never been in yet, but from the outside,
just I waved at you and then get adjusted. Yeah, you did. Yeah.
Did he change the roof or the ceiling? Is the ceiling still like an inverted pool?
No.
On the ceiling? That's what it was when I was
well, that would be cool.
It was kind of it was that's what I remember as a child, like in the main, like when you walked in, and then that was the waiting area, obviously, and then the offices were in the back. But like right up above it, there was like almost an inverted pool, like a step up. That's what I remembered as a child. Cool. It was kind of cool.
The landlord does have some apartments on the top. So
there was 2 apartments up there at the time.
Yeah,
they
weren't
still is usable at that time.
Oh,
did you have a lot of insight into the changes, like the renovations? Like, did you
he already had it mostly renovated because it was like a natural kids boutique before I got in there. But yeah, we sat down and He's like, tell me which pictures you love and which ones you hate. And he's like, well, you have expensive taste. I go, yes, hello, this is me, So we kind of compromised on that, but he was able to put the build out into the lease, which I really appreciated.
That's awesome.
Yeah. And then I signed another 5-year lease and we're on the second one now. So that's pretty fun. Yeah.
I think a lot of landlords down there have done that with a lot of tenants, which has been kind of nice. They've looped in the renovations with the lease, and it just kind of makes it easier on everybody.
Starting your own business, you never really know. And I can be optimistic and confident as much as I want to, but you never really know. So it was just nice to not have to fork that out up front.
Do you ever want to own down anywhere? Like, do you want to own that building at some point, or do you just?
I don't want to fix a toilet or have to call someone to fix a toilet. I release my vehicle through the business.
Yeah.
I'm a big renter fan. The accountant says it's good because I don't have many expenses because it's natural health with my hands. I have like paper towels, and we might have to have acupuncture, have some expenses now, but no, I don't really want to buy it.
Yeah, that's okay. Well, that's kind of all the questions I had. We went through it kind of fast. I hope you're satisfied with it.
Yeah, I would just like to say that, if you do something at home for your children, natural health wise, and you say no thank you to things, and then you go throughout your everyday life and you don't say it out loud,
right? You
might want to look in the mirror, because silence makes it easier to take our freedoms away.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And that's half the reason why we're doing this podcast. We talk a lot about. So I guess I am taking my stand now with you, and we're talking about it a lot on both podcasts, and getting you on here and voicing your opinion, which is great.
Like, if the world ended tomorrow, would you wish you would have done more? That's how I feel every day.
Right. That's what I'm trying. I'm trying to get to that point, and I think we're doing it, and you're definitely doing it.
Thanks.
You're doing some great things.
I think everybody would feel that way, though.
Yeah, like there's never enough.
I mean, there's never enough.
But some people don't
put
that
always
into action.
Try to make an attempt.
Put it into action. Yeah. Some people just don't. It's a thought, and a thought does nothing.
Right. Yeah. Exactly. Well, if you're comfortable with everything, I think we'll probably kind of end it there.
Yeah, cool. Thanks for having me.
No problem. Please make sure to go get something scheduled with Dr. Kim. She's located at 324 West Norfolk Avenue, downtown Norfolk. Phone number is 402-316-4641. And her website is drkimthor.com. Thanks to my co-host Vance Sat for coming in today. And big thank you to our guest, Dr. Kim. We really appreciate your time and look forward to speaking with you again in the future.
Yeah, cool. Thanks.
Thanks for coming on.